Hello, ZDoc followers. Today I'm super pumped because we have a special VIP appearance by Joshua Waldman. He's the current CEO of the accounting software company Billy. It's a hassle-free accounting software program for successful entrepreneurs, and I'm really excited for us to dig into the thoughts and ideas coming from Josh. So the goal of the interview is really just to dig into the experiences he's gone through on his journey to becoming a CEO. He's also written several books, one which was a dummies book. It was called Job Searching with Social Media, huge success. And he also ran a six-figure blog called Career Enlightenment. So without further ado, I'm looking forward to the interview with Joshua Waldman. From deep in my soul. I think the best place to really start is really, where did you get started, and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
I was working at Cisco, and I really hated it. It was big corporate, the whole thing, Silicon Valley culture. It really didn't fit me. Mm-hmm. I had to pretend to like football. I'm not joking. I had to pretend to like football. I had to cut my beard, which I really wasn't into. It just felt very not me. The whole corporate life, and the whole idea of you're guilty until you prove you're innocent, and the lowest person on the rung always gets the brunt of the punishment or the yelling at, or it's just, the whole thing is just so unbelievably hypocritical. And they keep saying, anyway, I don't need to go railing off of
that's the corporate life. I completely understand.
It's terrible. It's just like it's soul sucking, and I just felt miserable. And in fact, the day I got laid off was one of the happiest days of my life.
Wow. Bittersweet, right?
I remember the day clearly, and I had a pretty good severance, so I wasn't too concerned about money. Plus, when you get laid off from Cisco, everyone wants to hire you. And so I found that I had a couple of competing offers, and so I was okay. But again, I found myself in a Cisco reseller, and it was the same situation where the economy was tanking. And so I had, it was up here in Portland, and I had OHSU, which is a teaching hospital. And then I had a few other smaller government and educational accounts. And I think that year there was a financial scandal at OHSU, and also their budgets were cut. In fact, it was so bad that they fired their entire IT department and then hired them back. I think they hired like 80% of them back at 80% of their pay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they were not buying a fancy Cisco phone system from me that year. And so I was laid off again because the economy sort of was rippling out in ways that I was in front of. So I became pretty upset at the whole employment world. I thought it was just really crooked, and the whole idea of putting yourself in this powerless situation with an employer interviewing you to see if you're good enough to work at their company. I felt like that power dynamic is really humiliating. Mm-hmm. I don't need to put myself down like that.
Right.
I know I'm a hard worker. I know I pay attention to detail. I know I can do things. And I've proven that I can do that. So I felt like it was time for me to try my own business. And that was actually the year, or maybe it was like the year after 4 Hour Workweek was published.
Oh, okay. So that really like set a fire under you after you read it.
It did. I read it like 3 times.
That book actually made me mad when I got about halfway through, because I'm like, what am I doing with my life right now? This sounds amazing. And I have to go to work from 9 to 5.
Yeah. And then of course you realize that the book is pure fiction and fantasy.
True.
But it's inspiring nonetheless. And it inspired me to try to look at other ways to be in the world and make money and provide value. And I started a few different ideas. And in fact, I hired Clay Collins as a business coach and Laura Roeder as a business coach, and just trying to start my business. until I bumped into Pam Slim, who is fantastic. She wrote a book called Escape from Cubicle Nation.
Okay.
And it's just really impactful. And she actually came as a book, and part of her book tour, she came through Portland to do a 1-day workshop, which wasn't very expensive. And I did it. And it really, like, her methodology is really clear about the 4 quadrants. I suggest anyone listening to this to check out Pam Slim if you're starting a business.
I'm going to have to check that out too. Yeah.
She's great. And so I ended up hiring her as a business coach as well. And through all these, I really think you need a coach, especially when you're starting. That's how you're going to learn. And through all of that, I sort of realized that, okay, so I've done a ton of job interviews. I've interviewed people. I'm really good at social media. In fact, with Cisco, I started the Cisco LinkedIn group, and HR didn't want me to do that.
They did not want you to do that.
No, they called. Right. I started, Cisco employees LinkedIn group.
Yeah.
And I invited everyone. I went to all@cisco.com and invited everybody. Like 50,000 people.
Wow.
And HR called me the next day. They said, "You can't do that." I'm like, "Why?" Because recruiters are going to steal our employees. I'm like, "They're already doing that."
Yeah, it's already there.
So it's actually a massive group. And someone else took it over, obviously, because I'm not involved anymore. But So I've always been sort of an early adopter in that kind of thing. And I noticed that when I got laid off that second time, I was going to all these job seeking groups. You have to do a lot of these job seeking activities to get unemployment, which by then I needed. I'd run out of the Cisco money. And I realized that most of the advice people were giving out was complete horse poop. It was old. It was like the 1990s monster.com era job search advice. It didn't make sense. No one was talking about networking. No one was using LinkedIn or Facebook. No one even knew what Twitter. You just say Twitter to somebody and they would be offended. Like, what's that?
Yeah.
What do you think I am? A millennial? It's ironic because millennials don't even use Twitter.
Right. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah.
So there's just at that time, this was the recession. This was 2008 and 9. So there's a lot of fear around technology, a lot of fear around the changes happening in the economy. And I felt like I was on top of that, actually, that the advice I had to give was valuable and was helping people. So that's how I got the idea of starting Career Enlightenment, because what if I could build a business on the expertise that I had in a way that helped other people have better lives? And that was the premise of Career Enlightenment. And it did well. I have the 4 Dummies book that came out of that. And I had a 6-figure business when it was in full swing. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we ended up selling LinkedIn profile writing services, online courses, certification courses. I had a
Okay, so you tied all these sources into the blog that was careerenlightenment.com. Right. And then you had the book, social media for job searching, that then kind of boosted that up as well.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
Right. So one of the things I realized when I was growing Career Enlightenment is the way to make more money is to have something more to sell. If you have one thing to sell, you'll make one money. But if you have 2 things to sell, you'll double your opportunity to make money. If you have 3 things to sell. So it seems rather obvious. But you'd be surprised at how, when you're in the thick of it and you're just like, you're writing, you're trying to get your content out there, you're trying to research, you're trying to interview people, you're trying to grapple with technology like we did today, that creating another product or doing another launch or having something else to sell is the furthest thing from your mind. And actually that's counterintuitive. It should be the closest thing to your mind. And that was a hard lesson for me. And so we went, so Career Enlightenment was blogging. I had a book. Okay. So, it's like, I need a little bit more revenue this year. How about writing another book?
Yeah. Right.
So then I wrote the workbook companion to the 4 Dummies book.
Okay.
In a year. So it kind of goes hand in hand. And then, then I wrote a couple of ebooks, and then I did a course. And so you have to build a vocabulary of products and services to sell. in order
And
to make money.
all kind of around this whole career enlightenment idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's certainly how I taught myself internet marketing, social media marketing, content marketing, product development, product launch, infrastructure, operations, everything.
Okay.
None of that was taught in my MBA program. None of it.
Right. I agree with that.
Yeah.
'Cause I also have an MBA, and I've been learning so much more actionable stuff.
Yeah.
Like when I was trying to get my other ideas off the ground myself, I was spending, a month or two creating a business plan.
Yeah.
And then I would finish the business plan and be like, well, this isn't going to work anymore. Things have changed in the last 2 months.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Or you're done with the business plan and some outside circumstance changes.
Exactly.
Or you realize your market analysis wasn't actually vetted out, and you have to pivot, and all that work is just tossed away.
Exactly. So after you were building up all these services, you've got your ebooks, you've got your course, you have all this great stuff going for career enlightenment. What was the next step?
Well, I could have ridden that wave longer. I just didn't feel like giving out more LinkedIn advice. I just felt like I was done with that. It was just a feeling. It wasn't anything else. I feel like the market is growing there. More and more people are willing to pay for writing services in relation, and the economy is doing well. And so that's actually a good time to sell career advancement type of products, like, get your promotion, find a better paying job with your competitor, that kind of thing. In fact, a friend of mine from corporate America took a 1-year sabbatical, a European guy. I met him. He reached out to me. He was living in Bali.
Wow. All right.
Learning all this internet marketing stuff. So, yeah, he works at GlaxoSmithKline or something.
Sounds like a tough life.
Yeah, real tough life. And, I'm sitting on the beach thinking about how to, create a course. And he writes this course on, because he actually got promoted really quickly in his corporate job. He actually has an executive level role, and I think he was there within 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really incredible, accelerated path. So he did a whole course on how he did it. He looked at his past. He deconstructed what he did. It's pretty amazing. And he made a course and he sold out, man. He did really well.
Great.
Yeah. So he knew people would buy, and he knew what they would pay for that kind of thing and the value that he was offering. And so I think, those opportunities are certainly there. For me, I just, this particular niche, the career niche, was losing its magic. So I also really dreamed about running a software company.
Okay.
I felt like there's a simplicity in having a product that does something and somebody pays monthly for it. There's a beauty in that simplicity, and I was attracted to that. And so when the opportunity to help Billy out came along, I jumped on that. I thought that was going to be fun, and it has been. It's been great. In fact, I look forward to Mondays. It's been really awesome to get a chance to do this. And I never had a chance to do real software product management. And there's a ton to learn about that. It's really cool. How do you integrate customer feedback with revenue making opportunities, effort versus revenue impact in that kind of decision-making matrix. It's pretty fun stuff. So I'm happy with how it ended up. And it's certainly not a career path I would have anticipated when I was graduating with my MBA in 2006.
Right. But it's funny how when you're trying different things, you just follow the path of just testing and trying, adding the new services, and just recognizing opportunity. And as you said earlier, being able to pivot and change with the environment, which you've clearly been able to do.
Yeah.
Now that you've been at this software company, I get what you're saying. It's nice to wake up on a Monday and not dread going into work. You actually enjoy what you're doing. Yeah. And being a CEO, it's a lot different than, doing a lot of the work that, regular day workers are doing, such as data stuff and things of that nature. So what would you say are some of the key attributes that it takes to be a good leader or a good CEO?
I think the number one attribute is to be able to think at a bird's eye view and then instantly pop down to a grain of rice. And then come back up. To be able to see the strategy, the direction, and make decisions based on that. To be able to say no or yes, or to know where to pursue based on the big picture. And then to be able to say, okay, now it's time to do stuff. Boom, get right back down into it, do the data stuff. If it means cleaning up a database for an outbound outreach campaign, then that's what I'm doing for an hour. But the decision to do that came from a high-level strategic point of view. This is our bookkeeping partnership program that we need to work on revenue generating for, because we have a certain cash flow position that we need to address. So I'm thinking from a finance point of view, from a business strategy point of view, and then coming down and actually being able to execute. I think that a lot of people are not able to do that. And I don't say that as an assumption. I know people who can't do that. I don't think, well, I don't know if it's a learned skill or not. I really don't know enough about it, but some people are really good at doing. They're executors. This might be like a strengths finder thing. I don't know. But they just like put their headphones on and they're getting shit done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some people are all like, I know a guy here in Portland. He's just, woo, I got an idea. And he never gets anything done.
I know people like that. Right.
And they're both good. They're good attributes to have inside of an organization. But when you're a leader in an organization, it helps to be able to do both on a dime.
Okay. And I agree with that. I actually said that, I think, in one of my videos too, to be able to have that high level view, but you need to understand the details of how different things work. Like, how's that going to impact the accounting? How's that work with your already existing systems? Does it even work at all? So I think that's a very, very good point. And you don't hear that often, actually. You really don't. So I think you really hit something on the head there. So I'm sure along the way too, have you really run into any hurdles or any big issues or problems that you've had to overcome along the way to get where you are today?
Every day.
So you're just putting out fires. You're basically a fire marshal right now.
Well, it's a little bit of fire putting out, but not really. I think we're ahead of stuff.
Good.
I mean, for Billy right now, cash flow position is an issue. We actually were able to break even in November, so we're doing a lot better than we were, and our monthly recurring is improving. Our partnerships are increasing. Number of subscribers are increasing. The thing holding me back is having more things to sell, right? And so I think a software company of our size in our market is not going to just make it on $19 a month subscriptions. We need other things to both provide value and bring in capital. So, a lot of it is, can we offer better credit card processing for a better rate for our customers? So we're offering good value, but also can we take a commission off of that?
Right.
Right. So what are ways that we can even out our cash flow? I mean, these are daily challenges. And then of course, technical challenges like, getting certain features out on time. Of course, it takes 3 times as long as you expect it to. So, for me, I've had to learn how to let go a little bit because I'm not working for myself in a blog anymore. I have a team. I have developers. I have customer service people. I have professional service people, consultants. I have copywriters. I have people working for me. And so a lot of the time I just have to trust that they're going to get it done. And they are doing their best. And the reason why it's not done now is because they're dealing with something. And I might be done with work at 2 p.m. and there's really nothing I can do because it's just in a waiting period.
Right.
Maybe I can design some experiments, do some A/B split testing on the website or something, but you just have to sort of find a way to control what you can control.
Mm-hmm. It's a good way to put it. I think you hit the key word there, that trust, for being used to handling all these different pieces and now letting that go and trusting that someone else is going to, take that over and do it right, and that they've been trained right and will actually, ask the right questions too.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very good point as well. And you got all these different moving pieces going on. So I know, and I actually use Billy. It's a hassle-free accounting software for successful entrepreneurs.
You're at the website.
Right. I've got it down, man. So I love the tool. And the reason I really wanted to talk to you was because I have always known QuickBooks, and that's what I was going to use. But the more I started playing with Billy, because of the cost and because it was included with an AppSumo package, it just made sense, and it's met every need. I have no issues with it, and it's super fast.
Yeah, it's
fast.
fast.
Put in and do exactly what I need to do. And I've got you, sending me updates through email on things I can check on and chat to. So it's great. But there's always, misconceptions, and people like to form their own perceptions on what they read or hear. So is there anything that you'd like to clear up today and right now about any misconceptions about Billy, or anything in particular that you'd want to mention?
Well, first, thank you for using Billy, and I'm glad it's working for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. All software has a direction. Nothing is static in software, right? It's never perfect. There's always going to be something that doesn't work or something that you can do better. And I think the biggest critiques that we've gotten was that we didn't do something. I don't know, PayPal integration.
Okay.
Which is actually coming, right? So yeah, I mean, I get it that people want to do PayPal, and that it'd be valuable to do that, and we will implement that. But the critique isn't you don't do it; it's that it's hard to describe. I'm so disappointed. I got a lifetime deal for the cost of 3 lattes, and you've disappointed me.
And I'm so angry.
And I'm so mad at you. And I'm like, we're just starting. It takes a little bit. You can't just turn on PayPal like a switch. We got to get our developers in there. We've got to test it out. I mean, this is your financial information, and the flack that we've gotten is not being able to roll features out fast enough. Now, that's on one side. On the other side, a lot of people are just like, you guys are great. I'm going to stick with you. I'm sure it's going to get better soon. I'm sure this feature will be rolled out eventually. Good luck. So we have a lot of really great supportive, and kind users. And if you're involved in our Facebook group, they're there. But we had some Facebook group users who were nasty. Who are really nasty. They're like, you made a promise. And that's the one thing that drives me crazy. Like, you promised you'd have PayPal by December. I'm like, I can't control that. I really tried. I mean, I'm working like 12, 14-hour days sometimes. And, I can't get into the code and do that for you. I'm sorry. And our developer is trying to make sure that the system doesn't completely crash on everybody else. The whole like childish attitude, like, you promised it would be ready, but it's, mommy, you promised I'd have milk and cookies for breakfast. Let's be real here. Software is complicated, and we're trying to do it as fast as we can and please as many people as we can, and also our investors, which means we have to show revenue growth, and so our decisions need to be able to combine both of these considerations. And I think that the roadmap that I've chosen for Billy does that. And I wish it would go faster. I really do. I had some people like that who are just they're really mean. Like, you promised, you're all liars. I'm going to sue you. You made false promises. And it's like, that's
Calm
not
down.
Yeah, like, it's just $39, man. And we're just a few months late.
You can't go out to eat this weekend. I'm sorry.
And I have had to remove those people from the group, and then they went on to other groups and bashed us. And I don't know. It's the thing with social media. I feel like it's done more damage in the world than it actually has done any benefit. I mean, just look at our politics. I mean,
yeah.
the fact that a politician could nearly start a war with 140 characters is disturbing.
That's scary.
Or the fact that, we know this, that, the foreign governments are putting false news into people's brains.
Mm-hmm.
It's scary stuff. It's powerful stuff that goes right into our dopamine receptors and our emotional centers, and people don't change their minds very easily. And so, if you look at like the good, my wife's from Indonesia, and she said that there was a Facebook group of pedophiles.
What? You can do that?
Like how to lure children into unmarked.
No way.
Yeah, dude, it is disgusting.
No way. That's
Facebook group, right? And because it wasn't in English, they didn't have a team.
Oh,
right. So
okay.
and this thing has been going on for years.
That's nuts.
Right. And so
that makes you think, though, what else is going on that we have no idea about?
Yeah, exactly. And this whole like right wing, Nazi coming back. These people wouldn't have a platform. They wouldn't be able to organize. They wouldn't be able to brainwash each other without having a social media platform to do it upon. And so I think, I don't know, man.
It's tough because there's so many ways you can use it for good, like creating a 6-figure business, and there's so many ways you can create it for bad or hate and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And people will take something that's so good and twist it and make it something so terrible.
I think that's we're human, and if someone's going to break it or try to find a way around a rule, we're going to do that.
And it happens, and that goes right back to the question, like, Billy's there. It's not expensive. It's so much cheaper than QuickBooks, and it does exactly what you need, especially if you have a large enterprise. But some people are going to take it and they're going to twist it and get upset about things that aren't there, even though it's a startup and going. So yeah, I completely understand where you're coming from. I'm in that same boat right now, trying to roll stuff out and I think another point you made is trying to be patient, because we want to do so much so quick.
I do. And also, like, the rhetoric is so vitriolic, it's so nasty, so personal. And it was, at least at first, it was very hard for me to take the personal criticisms.
Mm-hmm.
What's helped a lot is I've been following Stoicism.
Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah, I have a great translation of meditations, and I also have the Daily Stoic, which is the who's the guy who does that? Anyway, it's called the Daily Stoic, and it's just a small passage and a commentary every day of the calendar year. And I read that every morning with my wife. And one of the things Marcus Aurelius says is that I think this is in his first book, the book 1 of the Meditations, one of the passages. He said, when you wake up in the morning, there will be people who out of ignorance will offend you, will attack you, will brutalize you, will go behind your back and will betray you. These things will happen to you today.
Today.
Yeah. Just know this is done out of ignorance, and that they do believe they're doing the right thing, and understand that it's not about you. And it's so powerful.
It's deep. Yeah. Very deep.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good spot to stop. You're right there. You can't get any deeper than that. But real quick, I do want to just give a quick little lightning round. I've got 7 quick questions for you.
Go for it.
Right off the top. First thing that comes to your mind.
All right.
All right. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right. So what month were you born?
February.
What's your favorite book or movie?
Dune.
All right. What's your favorite color?
Red.
Do you have a talent people don't know about?
I play the ukulele, though I don't know if that's a talent. Actually, I
Yeah,
can play
that's
the
definitely
ukulele.
a talent.
I can play the ukulele and the drums at the same time.
We're going to have to get into that at some point. That's interesting. All right, now a little bit tougher.
Okay.
What are you not good at?
Fast arithmetic calculations.
Oh, okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, how weird are you?
I live in Portland. I gotta make that scale bigger.
All right, enough said. And last question. If you had $1 billion, what would you do?
I would try to save the EPA.
That's the first time I've heard that answer. That's great.
I would try to save the EPA.
All right.
I'm really sad that we're losing regulation that keeps our air clean and our water drinkable. It sucks.
Nice. Environmental man. I love it. Love it. Well, Josh, I can't thank you enough for taking the time, for sharing your information. You know, you have so much experience in so many different avenues. It's great to hear from someone who's, you know, gone through the journey, especially for entrepreneurs and small business owners. So I appreciate you taking the time. I hope we can do this again. I had a great time, so I do appreciate it.
Sure, Zach. Thank you.
From deep in my soul.